Unless you're already retired, you must face the potential eventuality of reduced earnings. Your ability to work, as you might have during the family-raising, career-building years, typically diminishes. Perhaps not as certain as death and taxes, the need for retirement income is a close third. As these years approach, it's important to reevaluate your financial plans to ensure they're in line with your future needs. In your younger years, evaluating retirement investments and plans isn't a priority for most, as it should be. A little effort put towards retirement planning early in life goes a long way, but most people are busy working full-time, raising children, and for some of us, keeping up with the Joneses and spending money unnecessarily for the sake of looking rich. When the kids are in college and retirement years are fast approaching, it's a good time to take a look into what your financial future holds. Will there be enough money to fund your retirement, or will working for longer be necessary? What about the allocation of your portfolio? Don't forget the increase in healthcare costs that most people experience. Retirement is never as far off as many of us believe, so it's time to get serious about the future if you haven't already done so. Managing investments is a long-term game and something that needs to be continually done to keep your portfolio in check. If you enjoy videos about money, personal finance, and investing, all topics that will help you better your financial future, consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification icon to be notified of new videos. If this video is helpful, make sure to hit the like button. Many people fail to realize that by not working, we are actually spending more just by increasing leisure time rather than working. While calculating your needs sounds like a basic step, it's best to get specific and do some careful analysis. It often surprises people to learn exactly what they spend on a monthly basis when factoring in where all the money actually goes. It's important to include all categories of spending to determine a comfortable budget for the non-working years. Travel, visiting family, hobbies, and any non-income producing activities all cost some money. Income needed during retirement often decreases due to the fact that many people have their residence paid off and have fewer obligations for their kids. But healthcare costs and travel and entertainment expenses will probably be higher, as those hours previously spent working and commuting are now non-income producing. Food, including the costs of dining out, need to be factored in. During working years, it can be argued that many people eat at home more frequently than when retired. Dining out is more expensive, and consequently the cost of eating rises. And don't overlook the cost of housing entirely. Even when there is no mortgage obligation, housing still involves the cost of taxes, utilities, maintenance, HOAs, insurance, and other incidentals that can't be overlooked. Healthcare, even when you're in good health, still involves higher premiums during the later years of life. Life insurance is more expensive, and auto insurance rates tend to rise during retirement years as well. Older people are statistically more of a risk for automobile accidents, at least to insurers, even if someone has a clean driving record. Overlooking these subtle increases can lead to unfortunate miscalculations. Be sure to adjust these expenses when determining your financial needs in preparation for your non-income producing years. Calculating the income needed during your retirement years will allow you to make adjustments to your investments. If the income needed is low, you might not need to contribute any more to investments, instead using that money that would have gone into retirement savings for a new car, more travel, or philanthropy. If your investments aren't large enough to provide the income that you'll require, it's time to add more money or create more income streams. A 4% withdrawal rate is what is considered to be sustainable, but factoring in the age you plan on retiring will help you decide whether that's too low. Multiplying your annual expenses by 25 will give you the number needed based on withdrawing 4%. For instance, if you have a budget of $2,000 per week, plan on accumulating $2.6 million to fund your lifestyle. If you plan on working until age 70, it might be reasonable to withdraw 10%, but that brings up the question of how long you're going to live. Does your family have a history of great health and longevity, making it likely that you're going to last well into your 90s? If so, sticking to a lower withdrawal rate is a smart idea. Upon retiring, The amount of money that was being directed to retirement investing will be removed from your budget. If 20% of your income was being contributed to your 401k or IRA, that entire expense will be gone. Take note of your future Social Security income. Finding this number can be done online, and you'll get an idea of how much you can expect to receive from the government. While it might seem like a paltry sum to some people, many individuals rely entirely on Social Security income. Don't forget to consider your tax liability. If your entire nest egg is set aside in a 401k or traditional IRA, income will be taxed at ordinary income rates, which will take a large chunk out of your income. If all your money is in a Roth IRA and the taxes have already been paid, your overall tax liability might even decrease. If you haven't recently evaluated how your retirement savings is divvied up among different investments, now is a good time to revisit how your investments are allocated. As you near retirement, two elements become more important in this decade: evaluating your risk tolerance, or how well you stomach the value of your investments going up and down, and when you anticipate taking distributions from your savings. Having anxiety attacks when the market dips can indicate that you're invested too aggressively, and it may be time to reevaluate your risk tolerance. Perhaps investing in bonds instead of IPOs is more your style. You can take small steps today to move some assets from riskier investments to more conservative ones, looking for days when the market is going higher to sell at a higher price. It can make sense to have higher cash balances in times of uncertainty, even though inflation can nibble away at it. Keeping track of your allocations will make it easy to assess whether or not your investment portfolio will align with your goals. Various research indicates many 50-somethings are ill-prepared for their golden years, so it's important to increase your savings if possible and deemed necessary. Most people aren't able to handle an emergency situation requiring $400. This is a sad state of affairs, but symptomatic of our society of consumption and waste. Among 401k accounts at Vanguard, the median retirement account balance for people ages 55 to 64 stood at $61,739 in 2018, according to the company's recent How America Saves report. For ages 45 to 54, the median was $40,243. These figures are too low to sustain a healthy retirement income. Further funding these accounts as early and often as possible will allow retirement planners to take advantage of compound interest. For people who begin investing early on, most of their portfolio consists of the interest that was earned instead of money that was deposited into the accounts. For older investors, it's increasingly difficult to prepare for retirement due to the lack of time and therefore the ability to receive compounding interest. Everyone knows that healthcare costs rise as people age, so making use of an HSA can be beneficial. Medical expenses take a significant portion of one's budget, especially in unfortunate situations where health issues arise. An HSA or health savings account is a tax-exempt account that you can use to save specifically for medical-related costs. Contributions are tax-deductible, and withdrawals are also tax-free, as long as you're using the money for qualified medical expenses. The investment gains are also tax-free, and the funds can be invested in low-cost index funds, so there's no need to worry about losing out on potential investment gains or compound interest, especially if you're lucky and the money goes unused for a long period of time. Eligible expenses would be a new pair of eyeglasses, programs to help stop smoking, hearing aids, or modifications done to your home that are necessary due to medical complications. If you have self-only high-deductible healthcare coverage, you can contribute up to $3,500 in 2019. If you have high-deductible coverage for your family, the contribution limit doubles to $7,000 in 2019. HSAs are nice because there's no deadline to withdraw funds like in some retirement accounts. However, if you're under 65 years of age and you decide to withdraw the money to fund a family vacation or other non-medical expense, the money becomes taxable income and could be subject to an additional 20% penalty. Once you turn 65, the money can be used for a motorcycle or Caribbean cruise if so desired, but the money will be taxed as ordinary income. If you choose to use it for a medical expense, it will be tax-free. Once you reach age 65, you avoid the 20% penalty, but you will pay income taxes on the distribution not used for medical expenses, just like an IRA. Still tax-free for the rest of your life for eligible medical, dental, and vision expenses. According to Fidelity, the average 65-year-old couple will spend $285,000 on health care over the remainder of their lives. Even though you can sign up for Medicare upon turning 65, it doesn't cover all medical expenses such as dental, vision, and most long-term care. Using a tax-efficient savings account will help you prepare for future medical expenses and cut down on your tax liability. It might also be worthwhile to invest in long-term care insurance if your income is too high to qualify for Medicaid. According to the Department of Health and Human Services, someone turning 65 today has a 70% chance of needing some type of long-term care in the future, with women needing it more than men. This might prevent you from spending all of your assets and having to rely on your family for financial support, assuming they even have the ability to help at all. No one really enjoys planning for afterlife arrangements, but it's important to have a proper will, especially when leaving behind a sizable amount of money. Nearly anyone can execute a will online that is sound and legal with minimal expense, and writing a will can make life simpler for family that succeed their parents. Online wills can be created for between $150 and $600, but an important legal agreement that should be arranged. If you choose to use a lawyer for your will, you can expect to pay between $300 and $1,200, depending on the complexity of the estate. Executing a will sooner rather than later will put everyone's mind at ease when it comes to handling your estate. After all, we never know when our time will come, so being prepared will make it easier for family during a time of grieving. It's safe to say that no one wants their adult children fighting over whatever assets remain after their parents' death, leaving a lifelong relationship of hatred. There is enough to do for surviving family when parents pass away, but this simple step can make the process much less painful. With retirement imminent for most, taking stock of your financial position for the purpose of good planning is critical. With life's distractions of raising children, college, and focusing on careers, most people sadly don't pay attention to this very important reality and are often ill-prepared for their golden years. Society seems to discourage younger people from confronting the reality of retirement, but thinking ahead is the smart thing to do. Will there be enough money to fund your retirement, or will working for longer be necessary? Will you even be able to work longer, given that health issues are more likely to arise later in life? Address the allocation of your portfolio so your investments are in line with your goals. Don't forget the increase in healthcare costs, food, and housing incidentals that most older people must account for. Retirement years always come sooner than we like to believe, so it's time to get serious about the future if you haven't already done so.